Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. If you're interested in getting a subscription, you can go to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist and support the channel through a monthly subscription service there. You will get the daily forecast a day early and also other readings that are only available there each month. Okay, so let's get into the forecast. For those of you that are new, this is the Sunday forecast. It acts as both the forecast for Sunday, but also as the underpinning energy for the entirety of the week. So look at these cards as a guide as to what we might be expecting throughout the week. This is for the week of August 16th, Sunday, to the 22nd, Saturday. So this is not only a message just for that date, though. It's also a message for the highest good of the greater collective. So therefore, it's kind of a timeless message. It's always usable whenever you see it. So if it's coming up in your feed or finding its way to you on a date that's not during that time, that's completely acceptable and okay. Don't worry about that. You can continue to watch the video and see if it still has impact or a message for you. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, so our first card, this is the Four of Pentacles. So, I feel like the Four of Pentacles can sometimes be a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it greedy, but like, sometimes stingy maybe might be a good word. Fearful a little bit, guarded would be a good word. To me, the Four of Pentacles, I feel like this is us being tentative. We just came out in off of the last week's readings. I feel like the energy was a little bit, actually it was very positive. I really liked all of last week's readings. I was actually really surprised by it. This Four of Pentacles feels like the retraction of that grandness. I believe we're also heading out of Leo season soon, probably by the end of this week, somewhere around there. It's usually between the 20th and the 22nd of each month. But so that might be some of this retraction too. Also, Pentacles is the element of Earth, right? Which could lead to that sort of Virgo energy that's sort of incoming, right? Because we've got Virgo season coming in following Leo. I like this. The main message that I get from this as I'm looking at it is this definite like sort of practical planning for the future. Right? I like that this crow is sort of facing towards the future. We have the city in the background, right? Like our goals are sort of lingering in the background. Fours usually represent stability to me. The four legs on a table, I always say that. The Four of Pentacles can sometimes be about like kind of hoarding or being a little bit fearful in the sense of like we're wanting to hold on to what we have. And certainly with the things that are going on in the world right now, everybody's a little bit like, wanting their own agenda or whatever it may be in their own lives and not really knowing where things are going. So we may have a tendency to want to hold on to the things that we have versus being more free with this energy. But I don't think that this is a bad card. I feel like there's a practicality with this card. My warning for anybody looking at this card, if you find yourself being a little bit more frugal, practical, that sort of thing, make sure that it's not ebbing into this space of fear or worry that could bring about kind of the creation of that, right? I still feel like this crow in this Four of Pentacles is got his eyes set on the future. And how do we like methodically plan to get there? How do we execute a good plan with sort of the resources that we have, And I mean, when I say resources, I'm not talking about just financial resources. I'm talking about any kind of resources. I mean, a relationship, friendships, family relationships, jobs, all of those things are also considered resources, right? What sort of, how tired are we? That could be a resource, right? Our own energy levels. But managing those resources in a way that's smart, maybe not giving our attention to things we don't want to during this time in the early part of the week. Uh, Being very sort of conscious about sort of what's taking from us and maybe not giving back. That could be some of the energy of this card too. I don't think that this is a bad card. I just think that the warning here, if there is a warning to come with this, would be don't get into such a state that you're being so frugal or cautious that you're unable to kind of allow the opportunities to flow to you, right? We saw all of those aces last week. There's still like this room for possibility. That's the city skyline, I feel like. There's room for possibility to come towards us if we allow it and we're not too tight with that flow of allowing it to come towards us. Does that make sense? So the next card, which would be for the midweek, is the Knight of Wands. So this is a beautiful card. This is all about action. This is fire. We have that sun coming back. We've also got this Wands energy, which we saw at the beginning of last week and at the end of last week. So in the midweek, we may find, as we stay sort of grounded with this Four of Pentacles energy in the early part of the week, as we stay grounded and focused, practical in our thoughts, but not fear-based, as we sort of stay there and kind of try and think or create a little bit more of a plan by midweek, whatever it is that we're planning our way towards, I feel like this could be actually taking effect and action could be taking place. I love that this white horse is moving forward very much so. He has the light of the sun on the path, which I see here, right? And suns are always generally an affirmative symbol. So to me, this crow is moving with his horse. He's ready to move forward. Wands are always about action. There's a sort of a loyalty, a nobility to the knight, as far as I'm concerned. That's sort of my interpretation of knight cards. To me, there's an opportunity here also potentially to be of service, not only to maybe ourself and our own cause, but to, that sort of, how do I want to say this? Like that sort of dedication to our own cause or our own desires actually serves everybody around us because we're doing sort of what our calling is. Wands is the element of fire, which is the element of spirit, right? So it's that sort of desire that's within us that's driving us forward. Knights are kind of, and especially with this moving horse, it's like it's sort of ready to move in our own power towards whatever that goal is, whatever it is that we seek or that we want or that we desire. We start to take the steps that are start to begin to move us towards there, right? Now, the week's end. So this is the Six of Cups. This is not necessarily a bad card. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of, like when I look at these, when I look at all of these flowers, we have all of these roses sitting in the cups, and then we have all of these sunflowers. We even have these trees in the background. To me, this is about, when I look at it in coupled with the two cards previous to it, this is about the longer plan involved. To me, this feels like a little bit like looking at things and really starting to sort of understand gratitude for what we have, really starting to appreciate what we have. One second, sorry. So, all right. I feel like he is looking towards the future. This being cups and the water element of the emotions, I feel like there is an opportunity here to look at everything that we have. We may not have everything that we want, but we have the opportunity. These two crows flying towards the future speak to this idea that we have the opportunity to move towards even more greater, bigger things. But we sort of need to take a moment and kind of center ourselves and express sort of the gratitude that for what we have in the present moment, right? There's opportunities here. When I look at these three cards, there's a balance here in the sense that we have earth, fire, and water. We don't have air, right? But we only ever pull three cards for the weekly, so it's, odds of that happening are impossible. But when I look at this Six of Cups, to me, I get this feeling that this crow is pausing and looking at everything all the work that's taken place, all the stuff that we've maybe gone through, and finding an appreciation for that. finding a sense of gratitude for it, even if it's not exactly what we need. Does that make sense? Like the six to me, it doesn't feel like it's not enough, but we might want more, right? In whatever it is that we're looking for, whatever it is that we're seeking, okay? So if we're seeking for a deeper relationship, a better job, more money, whatever it is, that's all fine, great, and good, but we have to be grateful for what we have. And I feel like that's like the opportunity that the Six of Cups presents to us, is to like a moment to pause, to kind of take inventory, take stock, look around you, see all of the sort of blessings. Do we want more? Certainly. This crow is pointed towards the future. He looks like he's almost like, to me, sort of taking an inventory and continuing to lay out the plan, and how that plan will feel emotionally to get himself there. But there's like a pause or a reflection that takes place at the end of the week that's important, right? It's this idea of bringing in that emotional feeling of well-being so that we can truly express that gratitude for not only what we have, but also the experience and the journey that we've sort of already been on and that we're continuing to head towards. All of it is a gift in some way, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this card. Let's see what. Okay, so this is Broken Arrow. Embrace the energy of peace. So when I look at this, the first thing that I think of is when I think of the broken arrows that we have here that are crisscrossing each other. An arrow to me almost feels like air, in the sense that arrows fly through the air. And they also remind me sort of swords, like they're weaponized, right? So when you think about, I mean, this is an oracle deck, so there's not necessarily suits, but I feel like as far as an air sign is concerned, this gives me like Two of Swords vibes, right? With the crossed arrows. The broken arrow aspect of it is this sort of, and it says here, embrace the energy of peace. I really feel like the beginning of the week is about assessing where and what we give our energy and our attention to, where and what we place our resources in. And again, I'll repeat it, our resources don't have to be financial, they can be emotional. I mean, we're certainly going to be feeling our emotional resources by the week's end with this Six of Cups. And I think that that's going to be a good feeling, right? For the majority of you. It's this opportunity to sort of be grateful for what you have and continue to create more, in a way. You may even be able to share with others, right? This broken arrow to me feels like some of us are going to retract or pull back from some of the things that no longer give us what we need or what we require. That's the idea of this arrow breaking. We're no longer sort of maybe feeding our energy or our attention, our thoughts to situations that maybe don't bring us peace or don't sort of reciprocate or give back to us in a way that maybe we feel as though we deserve, or that we've been giving to, the person or situation, or, whatever it is. If it's not causing us peace, it's kind of like, to me, I feel like the arrow breaks, like we're no longer flying our arrows towards it. We're no longer flying our thoughts towards it. We're shifting our perspective. We're moving our focus. It's becoming, if anything, more internal than external. And that will hopefully bring about this sense of peace in this broken arrow card. And from that peace, that's when we start to feel this sort of gratitude that I feel in the Six of Cups. Let's see what the grounding stone is. So this is promise on marble. I always talk about promise usually has two different meanings. When I hear it, I think of the opportunity or the possibility within situations, like in the sense the word the promised land. I also think about how a promise is like a bond that we keep and give to ourselves, right? And I feel like when I'm looking at this Four of Pentacles, this Knight of Wands, and this Six of Cups, to me the promise is sort of being made to ourselves. The commitment is being made to ourselves, especially in the early part of the week with this Four of Pentacles. about kind of what we believe we can achieve, being practical about that, but also not like shutting ourselves off to the opportunities, right? The servitude that we see in the Knight of Wands is about making that promise to ourselves to kind of pursue in a very sort of noble or upstanding way what it is we want, and no longer with Broken Arrow there. We're no longer giving our attention or our energy to situations that maybe no longer serve us. Is sort of the feeling. We're shifting our energies towards the idea of what brings about immediate peace in the present now, right? Making that promise to ourselves this week as we move through this week, because I think that there's something, even though these aren't the most, I don't want to say that they're not impactful cards, but it's not like this big bang on, heavy duty, out of the box reading, but I feel like there's a beautiful sort of foundation being laid here between these three cards. And I also feel like Broken Arrow brings in this balance of like that air, because air, like I said, arrows travel through the air. They require the air to make their way. And so I feel like that we do have all of the four elements represented in this week, kind of coming together. So focusing on this promise, or grounding in this idea of what can we commit to ourselves, to pursuing for ourselves, for our own fulfillment, for our own opportunity. Does that make sense? Like, for creating that for ourselves? That should be our focus this week. And stopping giving sort of our attention to things that don't deserve it anymore. I hope that makes sense, you guys. I feel like this is going to be a good week. It may not be the most impactful week, but I feel like something's like there's a foundation being laid, is the best way to describe it, for the next chapter. All right, that is your horoscope, or your forecast for the day, your horoscope. That is your forecast for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. Please give the video a like, a share, a comment, a subscribe, and I will see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.